Okay, so I'm very much sick right now. But firstly, hello everyone. I'm back from a week-long cruise. So you're gonna hear me like try not to cough. Fuck. I can't laugh. That's the worst thing about this. I feel like I'm really sick. My family might have influenza, so that's fun. Hi Akuma. I am small today. That's because I don't know how well Persona is gonna run with my normal model. You're gonna see me occasionally just like look like I'm looking down. That's me trying not to cough my lungs out. I realistically, I shouldn't be streaming right now, but I'm streaming tomorrow with Elsie, hopefully, if she's still okay for it. And then my partner, we're gonna be playing Peak with Mari as well. So I'm kind of hyped. Get ab breaks. But no, if I see it when I'm done with lunch at work, it's streaming tomorrow. So it's like, what, 19 hours from now, maybe? It's like 19 hours from now. It's gonna be that time I usually stream. I just had to do things today. So I couldn't get to like my PC for a long enough time to be able to stream. I cannot stream for a long time today because my throat, it does feel like it is ripped up a million little bits and pieces. It'll be fine. It's fine. Anyway, yeah, I had a fucking week-long cruise. We were supposed to go to Vanuatu, but because of the weather, we ended up going to, so we started in Brisbane. So like my family and I drove and we went to Brisbane, which is a long ass trip, by the way, from my little town. Long ass trip. Too long. We stayed at my grandparents' house, which was like 4 hours away from Brisbane. So it wasn't too bad to do in like a day. It was like 2 days technically. But so took that to Brisbane. And then in Brisbane, we got on a boat. Like a whole big ass boat. And I went on a cruise at like this is my second cruise, like overall. And I went on the same boat that I did for my first cruise. So I already knew where everything was. To be fair, it had been like 2-3 years since it, but it doesn't matter. It was still the same boat. I ended up doing a lot of karaoke, which is where I think my dead throat is from. Because I tore the shit out of my vocal cords singing Hopelessly Devoted to You by Olivia Newton-John. Absolutely killed it. And then I had strawberries delivered to my room because the lady who was hosting the karaoke was like, "You're so good. Have strawberries." I posted them. Like, she was like, "Yeah, you're great. Come to more karaoke." I was like, fuck it, yeah, hell yeah. You quit because team we got in a case for giving team attitude. She said to the character earlier. What the fuck? Give me names and I'm gonna go beat people up. That's a bullshit reason. Like, hell, I say my team, my family. I give my family attitude. They can't, well, to be fair, they can't exactly fire me from my own family, but that's absolute bullshit. Like, not on her. She has every right to be pissy, right? Absolutely every right to be irritated there. The others, though, fuck them. I hope the guy who had it out for her, I hope his pillow, both sides of his pillow are warm. And that he stubs his pinky toe. And then when his pinky toe heals, he stubs it again. and it just goes on and on like that. Anyway. I should probably actually start playing. I have managed to set up right, yeah? Okay, cool. Pause that, minimize that, go back here, go here, go here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I may be able to stream for like an hour, unfortunately. My throat, I could feel it. Oh, fuck, I have to read. God damn it, that's right. Team didn't hurt her. She was making. Oh, wait. So, did she quit? Cause I'm trying to figure out the story here. Okay, so he didn't have it out for her. Is it another coworker? Oh, sorry, I didn't see that bit. Okay, he said to another coworker that he had it out for her. Okay. I missed the whole two. I just read it as she said another coworker had it out for her. I was about to get ready to throw hands. If she's making accusations, that's bullshit. What's your amazing news, by the way? Would love to know. So between characters or events to persons living or dead. Living. Similarities between characters or events to persons living or dead in your world are purely coincidental. I warn you, if you proceed, the road ahead is fraught and uncertain. You. God damn it! You who have come to this peculiar place wish to take part in this story? I do. I've borne witness to your decision. Until now, I've yet to receive such a reply from anyone. I am surprised humans like you still exist. I'll be waiting. Oh, does she shut up, please? Japanese series I watched is getting its first official simultaneous English release. Ooh. What's the series? Oh, wait, that reminds me. I heard Dress Up Darling's getting a season 2, and I'm actually so hyped for that. Oh my god, I love my Dress Up Darling. Hello? Oh, thank god. Oh, I freaked out so hard. I thought my game crashed. Well, he actually kind of fine. You can't see him, but he actually kind of fine. This reminds me of the start of Persona 5. Like, the not like, well, this is Persona 5. I mean, like, Persona 5 and 5 Royal. I love Persona so much. Smash, next question. I can't laugh. I've got to stop laughing at my own fucking jokes. I'm really bad at that. Could not get running. I will. Give me a second. It's our only chance. Stay calm. You can get away now. Retrieve the briefcase on our end. W, A, S, and D. This is like something from Persona 5. Reads the title Persona 5 Phantom X. Yeah. Oh wait, that was the other dude. What? Oh, let me fangirl quickly, please. Me down. There we go. I may have to get rid of my model. I'm gonna be so real. I may have to go modelless. If this... Actually, wait, what am I doing? I forgot to do something. I'm so smart. I'm a streamer, I swear. I promise. I do this stuff. I swear. I haven't even checked if if BTS POG is on. I'm really good at this. It is. Okay, cool. I did press tray on it. Hell yeah. Oh, I love Joker. Ren is so fine. Okay, I may be biased. Hold on. Hell yeah. Since chains, yo? Decided being removed from Game Pass like a week later. This is literally the only Persona game, aside from Reload, that I've ever had on my PC. My other Persona games, because I've got Persona 3 Reload had on my PC when that was on Game Pass. I'm pretty sure it still is. I don't know. And then I have for my PlayStation, my PS5, I have Persona 5 Royal, Persona 5 Tactica, and Persona 5 Strikers. I kind of have a favorite Persona series. I do love Persona 4. Persona 4 is my second favorite. Persona 3 is my third. He's so fine. I love our son. Gun! Yo! Holy shit, a gun! 1 and 2 both deserve a remake. Oh yeah, definitely. There's nothing there. Oh, I lied. Is this Phantom X? Holy shit, chat. I think this might be Phantom X. I have problems, okay? Or is that a woman? Wait, is that a man or a woman? I have no idea. What the fuck? Huh? Excuse me. Can you do that again, please? Show me that man. Need to decide if he's with. Oh, I found him. What was that? Bro wakes up at 7:30 a.m. I was wearing a mask, fighting this guy who looked like a thief. For some reason, I wake up in a cold sweat. Do I have to get rid of my model? I have to. I think I have to demodel myself. That should be fine. Yo! Ambitions and visions? So wait, how does this tie into Persona 5? This is like a bunch of new characters, right? What? Why is he back? Wait, is this happening simultaneously as like simultaneously with Persona 5? Like, wait, no, because this is confused me because it wasn't the two girls, it was the one girl, but Igor was still there. So how the fuck does that work? Of course he's a car. Because they couldn't make him a bus. I'm so confused at where this is like timeline-wise. Because I know Tactica and Strikers happen after like Persona 5 and Persona Royal. Because Persona 5 and Royal are the same game, just one's got more. A little bit. So where the fuck does this fall? It's clearly not... I swear to God, at the end of Persona 5, you get rid of Igor. Parallel universe? Oh shit, you're so right. That makes so much sense. Why the fuck is there an owl? Like, I get he's the Morgana of this one, but... I love Persona's music. Ugh, I always will. The writers, like the composers in Persona, they hit every time.
Hi, じゃあホームルーム終わりね。進路志望調査のプリント後ろから回して。
That's all for today. Pass your career questionnaires to the front. Oh, and make sure to write your name on the top. Oh yeah, she's gonna be... Do you think I can flirt with her in this game? Just like I can my teacher in Persona 5. Not your nickname, not your social media handle, your real name. In my case, it'd be Kumi Katayama. Sorry, I fucked that up hard. I just know to come back to bite me if I don't explain every little thing. Please don't forget to write your name. What is my name gonna be? Because I have to have a first and last name, don't I? Nagisa... I'm gonna fuck up all these pronunciations. We're just gonna go with the name that they give me. Nagisa Kamisuro. Is that my name? Yes. Sure, why not? I wrote down that name on the paper. I'm suddenly feeling sleepy. Why would you sleep in class? Yo, seaweed? Holy shit. Oh my god, I love that they're underwater! That's great. Yeah, but like, look down here. It's the one girl instead of the two. So we meet again. That's a different chick. I lied. That's a whole different chick. I like the two girls better. I much prefer the two girls who bully me over this one chick who looks like she would thank me if I stood on her. That's right, where my manners. You may call me Igor. And this here is Merope. She serves as my assistant. Merope. Merope, pleased to make your acquaintance. This place exists between dream and reality, mind and matter. You are familiar with the concept of choice, are you not? It's knowledge by which you have become a guest in this realm. Guest? I liked the Velvet Room when it was a prison. That was so much fun. We welcome you here as our guest. And no, you are not unconscious per se. Indeed, looking upon the state of this place may cause you to conclude as much. 2 girls, 1 ear, real. No, 2 girls, 1 depresso. Except it's those 2 girls, but when they become that one woman, because holy shit. Oh, her. Actually, let's just go with Merope. I'd fuck her. She's cute. I have to be careful what I say, because I know that those girls are, like, really, really fucking old, but they look like children, so I take back what I said about the 2 girls. I do not want the children. Thank you. Indeed, looking upon the state of this place may cause you to conclude as much. I love the water theme. I'm obsessed with it. It hits close to my heart. Consider this place a tunnel in a sea of souls, paving the way to the innermost depths of your heart. This is where you have shown us your desire to understand. Despite living in such a world, well, let us leave it there for now. Then that brings us to the Oh, apologies. One last thing. Lack of desire can lead to losing sight of yourself. With a P4 remake, we'll just add new content because cover P4G. Look, I think it might just cover P4G. Since if I'm correct, P4G is just like It's like a similar situation with P5R, right? Is that my baby? Oh my god, wait, hold on, my cat's outside. I don't know if you can hear her. Oh, there's my baby! Okay, Jody. Okay, it's okay. Go outside. I love my pets. My pets are the best. Wait, I hope the P4 remake adds new stuff. I want exciting stuff. Look, I love Persona 4, right? Absolutely love Golden as well. But damn, they need more stuff. I feel like they do. There are others like you in your world. My master wishes for you to keep this in mind. Sorry to keep you. Until next time. Don't laugh at me, you creep! Leave me alone! You're gonna wake up and it's gonna be the end of the day. Fateful encounter? What the fuck? Misiro-kun, are you okay? You just spaced out. You left the future plans part blank. Future plans. I'm struggling to gather my thoughts. Is everything alright? Miss Katayama. I assume all of you who left it blank simply have no plans for the future. I'll hold on to this. She seems mean. I don't think I want to romance the teacher anymore. Looks like Miss Katayama's in one of those moods again. Homeroom's over. That was only fucking homeroom? About the recent menace incidents. I understand some of you may be feeling completely powerless as the number of victims rises. Maybe that's why so many of you are having trouble focusing lately. Everyone, try your best to avoid oh my god. Everyone, try your best to avoid being targeted. Your school uniforms make you stand out enough as is. That's all. Class dismissed. Awakening of Desire. Start. Take the point of view. Key displays good. Can drag actually. Yeah, I like this. Go to the hallway. Yeah. I could have sworn that was white. Anything at the first floor, but they seem deep in conversation. Another post about the creep pouring some unknown liquid on people. Gross is a video? Damn, that's graphic. Someone's already sent it in for divine justice. Do you think Magasukami will condemn him as a menace? Tune to the conversation to notice me. That's like a serious crime. Shouldn't someone report it to the police? Honestly, no. It's kind of pointless. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Every time there's a menace, the cops just throw up their hands. I should ask them to let me pass through. Sorry to interrupt. Huh? Feel more resolve if we could pass them fading. Would you guys mind moving this chat to the cafeteria? Yeah, you better run off. Jesus. They're running in the halls. She just spoke to us. Student council member and she's loaded. Hanamura senpai is like something out of a manga. She's so cool. Ugh. You okay? I noticed you're having trouble passing through. You're a lifesaver. No need to thank me, just doing my part. Just gonna wait for her to finish. I've seen lots of people acting self-involved lately, being inconsiderate to the people around them and that kind of thing. Don't forget that you can choose to stand up for yourself. People have free will after all, so speak up and use it. My own free will. Sorry, I guess you didn't ask for my advice. I'll be going then. Okay, so I can go downstairs. Jeez. Damn, he's running. Change my shoes. Why the fuck is there an owl in the building? Who let that happen? Is he really the one? It certainly seems as though it's been stolen from him. How do you let an owl into the building? How the fuck? How did he? How? I've got so many questions already. Give us a new Persona fighting game? Real. God, I want another, like, Tactica. Holy shit, Tactica was so good. I loved that, I don't know how to explain it, but I love that. I love Tactica. By far my favorite Persona game. What the hell? Oh god, no! Stop. Well. Cool. Good to know. I do think she's gonna jump. I have no idea what to do here. I mean, like, keep playing, I guess, but that's the girl from before. Don't okay. Do a flip is crazy. In that height should probably live. I know how she feels. It's not like there's anything to live for. What the? Hey, it's okay, buddy. I did. It's fine. Something is very, very wrong. Feel an air of dread. Something terribly disturbing. The world itself feels wrong somehow. The feeling gradually subsides. That girl, there's nothing I can do to save her. It's gonna be like one of the Memento, whatever the place is called Memento, right? I'm like 90% sure that the place where Morgana turns into a car is, I think that's Memento. Memento. Even without it, you still manage to question your own will. I found you. I don't like that this owl is stalking us. Hell yeah. How did I'll get in an open window? Oh, is that that bitch from the start who was talking to me? Holy shit. Full circle. That which simply can't be seen.
わしにはお前が前者であってほしいと願う欲望がある。おい、そこを見ろ。マジ危ない。
Huh? What'd I get? Oh, Summoned by Desire. How the fuck did the owl get in the train, though? Oh, well, I guess the train doors were open, so... How the fuck is no one else freaking out about an owl, though? Where am I? Wait, I was on the train on a bike. Am I dead? Of all the places to make an entrance, this isn't half bad. Oh, oh, wait, he kind of cute. He kind of cute and goofy. I'd love him. Who are you? So you've come to. Seems you still... Seems you still have hold of your curiosity. Heh. Looks like finding you was worth the trouble. I know your name. Commissaire, isn't it? You may call me Lufel. I expect your respect. I have so many questions. Do you not use names anymore? That's strange. Here I was, sure, I performed a perfect human introduction. It's crazy. Oh, no matter. You must still be confused. But we're losing time. I'll keep the explanation brief. Hell yeah, metaverse. Right now, you're not in the world you know. This realm is called the metaverse. You might better understand it as the collective unconscious, where the masses' innermost cognitions coalesce. The real world, hope continues to be lost. That's why this world appears to be on the verge of a terrible and tragic collapse. What makes hope is lost? You losing your desire to know is just one example. Humanity's hopes, desires, motivations are stolen out from under your noses. Believe it or don't, it makes no difference to me. The fact remains, your hope was stolen, but I will show you how to get it back. Yeah? Looks like they found us. Follow me. We have to get out of here first. I'll explain the rest on the way. He did a little flip. Just come on. All you need to know right now is that I'm on your side. Not entirely sure what's going on, but it seems I don't have any other options. Oh god, I have to take an influenza test soon. Say soon, I mean like right now. Let's proceed. I am following. I'm going, I'm going.
先ほども話したが、現実世界では人々の欲望が奪われつつある。
What I said before about humanity's hopes and desires being stolen.
お前も感じたことはないか?
You sensed it yourself, haven't you?
誰かのせいで仕
When
方な
something
く
goes wrong and you feel the urge to go
自らの
against your
思考
instincts
に
and
反し
throw in the
て
towel.
意志が消えゆくこと。
And throw in the towel. Can the presser pronounce? Nope, I cannot. No, sick. Ah, that's... I cannot. If I could pronounce it, I'd probably be better. I think the block nose and the dying throat isn't helping anything. Oh, he's right. I feel like something deep within my heart is slowly fading away. It rings a bell.
欲望と聞けばマイナス面を想起しがちだが、つまりは生きる原動力でもある。
It's easy to forget that desire can also mean more than greed or lust. It also fuels the will to live.
それを放棄したり、あるいは誰かに奪われ続けたりすればどうなるか。
If someone gives up on all their desires or has them stolen, what do you think would happen to that person?
お前も見ただろう。希望さえ抱けなくなった者が身を投げた姿を。
You saw for yourself, didn't you? Someone who could not hold on to hope and so let go of life.
もちろん、今すぐに世界が終わるなどという話ではない。
Of course, this won't spell the end of the world immediately, but...
だが、それは徐々に確実に
Oh,
人々を
gross.
蝕み、世界を終焉へと導いている。
Little by little, it will eat away at humanity and inevitably lead to ruin.
そして、
And the source responsible for this is...
やはり立ちふさがるか。
Bro's got smacky sticks! You plan to get in our way, huh? What are they?
シャドウだよ。
These are
わかり
shadows.
やすく言えば敵だ。わし
In
ら
other
を殺
words,
しに来てる。
enemies. They're here to kill us.
奴らに善悪はない。
They have no concept of morality. They attack humans by nature.
だが、
But these aren't their true forms. They're influenced by someone powerful in the real world.
何者かの強い駅の周辺で欲望が枯渇していたのも。
I wonder if they're also responsible for draining the hopes from the crowd at the train station. It seems likely. Oh god, I hate... Oh, the faces.
こいつらシャドウは
These shadows
人間が欲望を奪われている原因
are
の
one
一つ
part of how humanity's desires are being stolen.
とにかくお前は逃げろ。
For now, you should run. I like that plan. Do I get to run? I'll take that as a no. Oh, shit. Well, the main character's dead already. Game over. Is it the Velvet Room?
見えてないってことともともと備わっていないこととは別物だ。
今のお前は本来のお前ではないとしたら
Yo?
あなたも 自分で声をかける選択を忘れない方がいいと思うわよ。
お前には取られているものがある。それは本来お前のためだけにあったも
無欲は時に君が君自身を放棄することにもなりうる。
自己を偽り忘却し己が意志を捨て続ける。今のお前は自身がどう見えている？どうする？ここで物語の結末を迎えるというのなら、それもまたお前の選択。今一度お前に問おう。取られた側のまま未来すら手放し命をも捨てる。その選択で良いのだな。
No. Maybe. I'll reclaim what's mine.
その選択を聞きたかったのだ。
お前
Hell yeah. I love getting my persona within the first 40 or so minutes of the game. I love his mask.
選択したのであればつかめるはずだ。恐れるな。誰に何を言われようと見えているなら掴み取ればいい。
Oh, I love. I just love. What is it with the main characters and having capes?
まさか
よもや今日という日を迎えられようとはな。
Ugh, I love the awakening scenes. Oh, Yanos. She.
今より我らはこのベルトさながらに
Oh, okay.
結ばれることに。さあ契約だ。我は何時
Actually, fire. Thou art I. I am thou, and thou art I. Hell yes. Ugh, I love Persona.
その姿溢れ出る生命への強き渇望
I want to know what type he is. Hold up. This is so important. Shut up.
聞くまでもないが戦うということで良いのだ
You ready to fight? I love the bike horn.
さっきとはまるで別人だな
One of my favorite shadows.
あの姿は迎撃態勢だこっちにたくなければ武器だ
Gonna live, you better put that weapon to use.
その手にある武器で
Use it to slice up the enemy. I just have a whole blade. And a gun. Okay. What are you fighting for? Channel that desire into power and unleash it. Action. Boat.
いただいていく。全てを奪い返す。
Hell yeah, what the fuck? Thief Companion Volume. Anecdote Cube. What is this? 1000 XP to an ally. And 500 XP to one persona. Holy shit. It's not too bad to like begin with.
終わったな。
Looks like it's over.
順を追って手ほどきしてやるつもりだったが、まさか自分でペルソナを覚醒させるとは。
To think you awaken your persona on your own. Here I was thinking I have to walk you through every step. Use Yanashi.
お前の力にも呼び名があるのだ。
It's a name your power has given itself.
ペルソナとはもう一人
The persona is another self, a manifestation of your innermost desires.
搾取され続けるこの世界で、誰もが
In this
己を
cruel
見出す
world,
ことさえ困難だが、
many struggled to see themselves clearly, and yet you,
やはりわしの見立てに狂いはなかった。お前は
it seems
こ
as
の
if
世
I've
界
chosen
の
well.
希望になれるかもしれん。
You may just become this world's hope.
もうお前は
I'm gonna be so good. I'm the best
壊れている側で
persona.
はないということだよ。
If it wasn't clear, your stolen desires are right back where they belong.
先を急ぐぞ。
Let's hurry onward.
ここはまだメメントスだ。
We're still inside Mementos, so shadows may attack us at any moment.
い
What's
ろいろ
this
と
place?
聞きたいことがあるだろうが、今は脱出が先だ。
Oh, we need to get out of here. If I die, there'll be no one left to answer your questions anyway. Let's leave.
察しが良くて助かる。お前、
You can run, can't you?
今の戦闘で他の敵にも感づかれただろう。急いだ方がいい。
Better likely caught the attention of other enemies nearby. We'd better hurry. Persona, Mementos, Shadows. My head is still spinning, but I should follow Lufel for now. Okay, press dash to move faster.
急いでいるという
Terrible
のに
timing. Ewie.
だがちょうどいい。効率のいい倒し方を教えておく。
I'll show you the best way to knock down the enemy. Oh, Pixie. I love Pixie.
戦いはこうやる。
So you fight, watch and learn.
敵には弱点があるやつ。
Do you have a fucking bow and arrow?
弱点をついて敵をダウンさせる。
Some enemies have weaknesses you can exploit to knock them
そ
down.
の隙をついて
Use that opening to strike again.
出番だね。これでどうだ。
Hell yeah. Silver pots. Okay, so that's just XP for weapons. Unlock tutorials. Open the phone menu. Tutorials. But you know which way the other escalator instead. Okay, the up one. I hate that it's being real.
エントランスが近い。
Oh yeah, once we're out of mementos, I have to go. I'm like, I feel like I'm actually gonna cough up a lung in a second. We're near the entrance. The exit should be right here, but
止まれ。
wait,
いるのは分かっている。
I know you're there.
隠れているつもりなら無様だぞ。
If you're trying to hide, You're not doing a very good job of it. What the fuck? Who?
いや、予想と違った。
It's not him.
わしが感知していた
He's
やつ
not the one I was sensing.
だが、この
It's
近くで欲望
the
が
source that stole your desire.
異世界と現実世界は
And the metaverse and the real world exist in parallel with each other.
つまり
They're structurally linked, which means
こいつに欲望を搾取され現実で命を奪われた人間が
there's someone in the real world whose desires are being exploited and their will to live stolen from them. Can't let this stand.
ほう何
This
か
is a code with you, huh?
あるだがこの雰囲気敵も一筋縄ではいきそうにない
This feeling, it appears we won't be able to take down this enemy easily. What the fuck? I'm a boss already? Fuck off. That's not fair. This isn't fair, I just started. What the fuck? Oh, you creepy as shit.
ならばわしも
Gonna take on the mantle. Rob Roy? Fucking robot.
忠告しようわしらは全てをなくしてここにあるもの立ちふさがるというなら全てを奪って進むまでお前の敗北を赤く彩ってやる
What the fuck?
目にもの見せてやれ
This is unfair.
回復だ
You hit heal yourself. I'm busy.
使うぞ。
さっきの強力な攻撃が来る
Defend yourself. Okay, and then I win. Ugh, I don't get to pick. Get the other eye.
わしのペルソナ
Do one more.
受けてみろ。
約束通り
Okay, so I don't have to tag the chains. That's good, that's good.
彩ってやるわけだがお前に見せ場を譲
The
る
finishing blow to you.
欲望のままに決めてくれ
Oh, hell yeah. I love all that attack.
もう出ない。
Go beyond. Beef, Anakin Cube, Opaku. Coordinate attack, sweet.
やるじゃないか
Nicely done.
見事なとどめだったぞ
Quite the
こ
coup
の
de
戦い
grace.
は理想外だったがな
Girl, your skill in battles left me flabbergasted. What'd you say?
理想外だよ思いのほかという意味だ
Yeah. Flabbergasted means to be surprised.
さあ、最近の人間はこの語彙を使わんのか。
How long has he been?
私の知識も改める必要がある。
Slovak highwayman, like Robin Hood. Ah! Like how, are all personas, based on, like, historical things? Because I'm, like, 90% sure they are. But I could also be very wrong. And I will accept if I am very wrong. Tell me, do present-day humans no longer use such words? It would appear I must make amendments to my body of knowledge. How fucking old is this owl?
例のやつとの鉢合わせを期
If all
待
goes
したんだ
well,
が
I was hoping we'd come across them, but
やはり
it seems we'll need to gather
情報
more
を集めな
information
くてはな
first. Them? Is Awful looking for someone here? Is it Lufel? I think it's Lufel. He's looking for someone here. Ad break.
お前の実力を知ることができ
Yeah,
たの
but
は
witnessing
大
the
きな
true
収穫
scope of your
だ。
power was quite the boon.
あれならすぐにでも
Seems
仕
I'll
事
have
を
no problem
任せ
putting
ら
you
れ
to
る。
work right away. What are you gonna make me do?
出口はすぐそこ
Is the
だ。
exit. We'll talk more in detail once we're safely made it out.
シャドウ。
A shadow?
いや、あのシャドウ
Sensing any hostility from it. I mean, look at her waving. She looks so happy. It looks like a person.
シャドウにはまだ謎も多い。
Much is still unknown about shadows.
姿
Have
形
many
は決まっ
forms.
ておらず、
Some are belligerent
好
towards
戦的なも
humans,
のもいれば、
while others may be
人間に
agreeable.
好意的なもの
Shh.
も奴らは強い欲望に惹かれ、
They pillage the metaverse, lured by strong desires, even if they're from a human.
そのものの欲望次第では、
It's possible to convince them to surrender or negotiate trade depending on the shadow's own desires.
どうやらわしらにあの品々を売りつけたいよ。なんとも商売熱心なシャドウ。
This is like that kid. This wants to sell us something. Seems there are a few irrepressible entrepreneur types in the lot.
時間がある
We can stop by when we have time. Let's hurry onward. I'd like to see her wares. I want to see what she got.
その欲望は結構だが、
Aww.
今は脱出が最優先だ。
I appreciate your enthusiasm, but it'd be best to get going. Best for us to get going. Aww. Poor lady. So she'll be at random spots of mementos the entire time. That's how that works. Find her randomly in mementos. And I'm guessing she wants those gems that I've been getting. I'm in Shibuya. Back in my regular clothes too.
服が変わっているのが気になる
You
か。
curious about your outfit change?
説明してやろう。
Allow
世界
me
ではわしらの強き欲望
Okay.
が作用されて、
allow me to explain. In the metaverse, the strength of our desire causes
いや、初めましてな顔をするんじゃない。さっきペルソナを見せ合った仲だろ。
Don't look at me like I'm a stranger. We just made each other's personas a minute ago. Oh,
ご名答。
yes, it's me, Lufel. Why are you an owl?
えい、順に話して。
I
そうせくな。
was getting to that. Don't interrupt.
まず、異世界で服装が変わるのは本人の強き欲望の意志の象徴だ。
Firstly, in the metaverse, your clothing changes to reflect the will of your desires.
自分史のわしらが敵対者に感知された際にまとう心の鎧、そういう認識で構わん。
In the event we're sensed by nearby enemies, become sheathed in the armor of our hearts, so to speak.
まあ、わしも全てを知っているわけではない。反逆の精神の表れという説もあったりでな。
Though that's not to say I'm 100% certain of this. Some theories posit the armor is a symbol of one's rebellious spirit.
現実と異世界で姿が違うのは
Anywho, that's
そうい
the
う
long
わ
and
け
short
だ
of it.
って。
あれってフクロウ？
Is that an owl?
珍しい
City life sure has its surprises.
悪いが今日は一旦解散だ目立つことは望んでいないからな
He's an owl in the middle of the city. You can't not stand out like that. You leaving already?
その知的欲求は良いことだしかしお前相当に疲弊しているだろう
Your intellectual curiosity is certainly admirable. I think you've had enough for one day.
ペルソナ覚醒もし
You
か
let
り
your persona
さっき
awakening
の戦いもあったかえって英気を
and the
失って
previous battles. You ought to head home and rest.
心配せずと
Do
も
not worry, we'll surely meet again soon. After all, I have a job to ask of you.
わしはわしで調べておきたい
Before then, there's something I need to look into. Once that's done, I'll come find you. Like the first said, I'm pretty exhausted. I should get home.
なんで
I'm magic, that's how. That's how I got there. I need to go rest my voice. Holy shit! Daily check-in. Hey, yo. Shops. Uh-huh. Events. Uh-huh. Okay, this is log out. Hold on. What's in the mail? Pull bag. Gold ticket 20. Oh my god, is this game gacha? Is this a gacha game? Look, I'm gonna be... real. If this is a gacha game, I may have some problems.
どれが気になるっちゃ
Daily gift.
確認するのが大事っちゃよ前よ大きいね
Okay, so... Um...
先立つものが
I am pretty sure this is gacha.
マルチに紹介にようこそね
We entered a new horror. This is a horror for me, I'm a gambling addict.
また来てね
Ugh, I love gacha games. Stop, don't tell me I get things. God damn it. God, Jesus. Okay, you wanna quit the game? Yes. Before I become addicted. Before I get too addicted. My god. Okay. I seriously need to go lie down and like get some food and relax my voice because I'm like breathing wrong at the moment. I really should have just waited till tomorrow to stream. But I gotta wake up tomorrow morning, take a COVID test and an influenza test because I might have one or the other, maybe both if I'm really lucky. Take care. I'm going to. I'm gonna go get some lozenges, get some like nice warm tea, some warm food, just stuff that'll help my throat. I appreciate all of you for coming hanging out even though it was a short stream and I'm sick. I'm gonna go have a nap. You're all amazing. I love you so much and I will platonically. I love you all so much. And I will see you all tomorrow for tea because that's what I'm doing. Okay, bye.